السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جميعا أهلا وسهلا. Today I want to speak about what is America's direction, and related to what is America's direction from the election or results of the election in the US. Despite what the results are from the election, by who was elected, my conversation is directed towards what are Black Americans' goals and plans. For a while, I wanted to talk about this, some things about American politics, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, how both sides are white supremacy or support white supremacy, and both sides are anti-Black. One side is aggressive, which is the Republicans, and the other side is passive, which is the Democratic Party. And if you don't think so, I like to remind you the person who instructed, or the person who okayed for the spying on Martin Luther King Jr. was JFK, the liberal. So when we look at white supremacy and its different ways of performing, or its different ways of attacking Blacks, there are different schools of thought with white supremacy, in particular in American politics and government. So I want to talk about some results of the election. And I don't want to talk about really the results, but what is next for Blacks in America, in particular the African American Muslim community, who by choice, many of them, by choice, we choose to stay out of these political matters, and neither are we doing anything in the communities we live to solve any of the social problems in the US. Now, back to the Democrats and Republicans when it comes to white supremacy and their plans for Blacks, it's all the same. One group is more aggressive and the other group is passive. The Republicans are aggressive. They are anti-Black. They support KKK, or they are the KKK and white supremacists. And the Democrats are very much no different. The Republicans is I stab you in front of you. The Republicans is, the Republicans are we stab you in front of you. We are clearly the open enemy. And for the Democratic Party, they are smile in your face and stab you in the back type of mentality. Now, some people who follow politics might disagree with me and say, well, Republicans are for morals, they are against abortions, and the Democrats are liberals and they are for abortion, and they get the Black votes and they're in the Black communities. And the reality is both of them are against Blacks. And I want to demonstrate a simple example how both of them are against Blacks and all of them are for white supremacy. Now, just to give you a little taste, Roe versus Wade is a little example or opener into how white supremacy works from the Republican side and the Democratic side. Now, Republicans and Democrats in the government are all white. All white. Just remember, Roe versus Wade was overturned by the Republicans, while the liberals, the far left, are in the administration of government. So basically, the Republicans pushed to end abortion, and this is not what my discussion is about today, but it was a sign because of white people are not reproducing. And that affects white Republicans and white Democrats. It affects the white population. And the Republicans overturning Roe versus Wade is a point of survival. And that's why the Democratic Party allow it to happen under their administration. President Biden is a Democrat. He's a liberal. It happened under their administration. Why? Because in front of the people, you're going to say we're for abortion and women's rights, right? But in reality, they understand, well, if we keep on aborting, allowing white people to abort their children, white people will not have the numbers and will not have the powers in the United States, right? So the Republicans and Democrats are no different when it comes to survival for white race within the United States. They are no different. And Black people, we need to have a plan where we are free from them. We need to have a plan where we are free from them. Nowhere in their plan is for the survival of Blacks. Nowhere in their plan. The Republicans are not for reparation. They are not for a Black agenda. They're not for making any legal or tangible change. And the and the Democrats, they are just the same way, except for they have a little bit more tokenism. They will have Black politicians around them, which none of these Black politicians are doing anything in the Black community to make any social changes that are tangible. The Democratic Party is in office, it has the presidency. They have not done anything to change legally related to police and police brutality. Rather yet, when we look at Obama before he left office, he made a order which gave police more power. And during Obama's presidency, we were seeing police killing Black folks. This is the Democratic Party. So just to sum it up real quick, like a chessboard, right? Or a board game, chess or checkers, whatever you want to use for example. In the board game, or this particular board game related to white supremacy, the Republicans pushed the agenda ahead, right? By their aggressive tactics. They pushed their agenda ahead, and the Democratic Party, with their passive way, like the sheep, like the wolf in sheep clothing, right? Amongst the minorities, amongst Blacks, they spread the agenda. They spread it out, right? They spread white supremacy out. They set the traps for Blacks to either support it or be victims of it. And at the same time, Blacks think it's something good for them. So they spread white supremacy across. They spread it across like a board game. They would spread it across. They spread the line across. And the Republicans, when they get in administration, they push forward, right? So when the Republicans are pushing forward, right, their agenda for white supremacy, the Republicans, the Democrats are actually helping them by spreading it out, meaning that they go to the mass of the Black voters. They give them the tokenism. They give them white supremacy in the form of a passive way, homosexuality, LGBTQI rights, right? Because this is, in reality, for Blacks, this is population control, right? So they help spread the agenda of white supremacy. And the Republicans, when they get in office, they push the agenda for white supremacy ahead, right? They push it ahead, and the Democrats spread it out by blinding a lot of its Black voters or the Black population with tokenism and policies that do not benefit Black people but strengthen white supremacy, right? For example, in New York, the governor of New York, she was running for election for governor, and she was talking about while Black people are shooting or there's a lot of crimes in black neighborhoods, she was talking about um, to get to stop legally people who have legally own rights for firearms, to stop them from having the license or license for a concealed weapon, right? Preventing people who have license for concealed weapons to go out in the streets in New York, right? While black people are being gunned down, all the victims or the people who are using guns in the black neighborhoods, they don't buy legal guns. They're not shooting people with legal guns. They're not doing crime. They're not going buying legal guns and doing crime. So while she was running from governor, her whole pitch was to stop concealed weapons legally. People who can legally buy weapons, legally they cannot have the concealed weapons in open, right? Right? Or out. I mean, going outside with concealed weapons. That policy don't benefit black folks because law-abiding citizens or law-abiding black folks are not going out shooting people, rather yet they are the victims, right? So meaning that she hasn't brought any change that's going to help black folks, all right? And this is the Democrats, right? This type of policy they push that doesn't benefit black folks, right? And I just gave that example for New York, where I'm from. So like I said, the Republicans push their agenda ahead, and the Democrat, with their passive way, like the wolf in sheep clothing to black folks, they spread white supremacy agenda. So no matter who you vote for, no matter whether it's a Democrat or Republicans, in the end of the day, for them, white supremacy is the main objective for them. It's just they have different schools of thoughts on how do they get to their main goal, their objective, right? Is to keep white people in power, right? Keep white people in power, keep white people laws and policy that benefit whites in power. And that's why the Democrats, under their administration, they allow Roe versus Wade to be overturned, because at the end of the day, it benefits whites. Now, into my discussion for today is about Black Americans, Muslims in particular. Most of the followers on my channel are Muslim, all right, alhamdulillah. And over the years, I changed my platform on social media, because I notice wherever I go preaching Islam, wherever community I ever went, the black communities, African American communities have it the worst. If I go into a Arab community giving dawah, you know, they already got things intact financially. They understand ethno aggregation. I go into the South Asian community, they understand ethno aggregation. They understand how to work collective as a Muslim. Matter of fact, they don't need me in their community. I'm not somebody needed in their community. African American imams and du'ats is not needed in their community because they already have these things as part of the culture. They already have imams, they already have scholars, they already have teachers, right? And in their communities, they are building, right? They are expanding their communities because they come from extended communities themselves. So they're expanding their communities, and they have the finances, they have the people to back them up, they have the money for it, they have the academics for it, they have the resources for it. But the main thing, they have the support of their people for it. The people understand ethno aggregation. Their people understand how to work together as a group, right? They understand the religion of Islam teaches togetherness. So in their communities, they don't need people like me and you. They don't need us, already have people in their community. But when I look into the Afro-American or the Black American communities, we are much dysfunctional. We're dysfunctional and we can't get it together. Now, the reason why I made this video, or making this video today, because I seen a brother on Facebook who gives dawah and he's giving the khutbah, and he's down south. I hope the brother see the video. I will tag him in it later on, where he's speaking about in the khutbah where a person is elected as a sheriff or reelected, and the person's a racist, right? And the person's a racist, right? And I want to discuss about what really can the African American Muslim need to be focusing on, because we're not really focusing on empowering the Black community. We're not really focusing on how to use Islam to empower the Black community. Nowhere except for one or two small communities in the Black Afro-American community, right? But the Afro-American Sunni Muslim community, we, very few, only a few, we're not really using Islam to empower our people. We're not using Islam to empower our people financially. We're not using Islam to empower our people morally. Matter of fact, some of us are some of us African American Muslims are very similar to the Jews in U.S. We're very similar to them, except for the Jews understand how to work together as Jews, but the Jews keep their religion really to themselves, right? And the African American, some of the African American Muslim community, you're in the Black community in the masjids hiding. You're actually in the masjids, in the community hiding. And you have a little effect on what's going on outside of the community because you're not participating in politics. You're not together. You don't know how to do group economics. We don't know how to practice group economics. We don't even know how to orchestrate and sometimes even maintain our own masjids. And sometimes we don't even have masjids. We have corner store communities. All right. So we be in a highly populated Black areas, and we are not affecting anything in the politics, the cultures. We have no connection to the people who live in our community, whether they are Muslim or non-Muslim. We have no connections with the people, except for very few Black communities that is Black conscious, right? But there's a many Black communities that have no relationships with the people who actually live in the community, non-Muslim or Muslim, and have little concern about them. But they find their followers and the people in their communities, and the Muslims in their communities, and the Muslims who live in their neighborhoods, Black like them, are overcome by all the problems or all the social problems that's happening in the Black community. They're in the mix of it. They are in the mix of it. There, it happens right next to their masjids. All the crime. And I'm gonna give this example. Even George Floyd, his death. I have it on my Facebook page. I have it on my website, blackamericanmuslims.com, on the About page, where you can see where George Floyd is being killed by police. Right on the side is a masjid that says Nitma to Islam. Nitma to Islam. I was looking last week in New York. Here in New York, in Far Rockaway, there was a Black African taxi driver who dropped off some young Black kids in the projects, and they beat him up when he was chasing them to pay their fare. It hit him. He fell, hit his head on the floor, and he died. And I looked at it. I'm looking at it. And you know what? People don't know in New York. I'm looking at it. I'm saying, hey, man, there's a masjid right across the street from there. There's a masjid right across the street. So literally, this man got killed in front of right across the street from a masjid. I used to be an imam in that masjid. And I know the people in that masjid who run that masjid, they care nothing about Black people. Rather yet, they have all the bodegas and the corner stores in the area, and they don't give nothing back to the Black community financially. And they definitely don't go and promote Islam to any of the people there. So when we look at Black people's issues in America, and we look across the US for the African American Muslim, sooner or later, you're going to have to step it up. And if we don't step things up, you're going to get taken out by circumstance. You're going to get taken out by circumstance, because the plans of the Republicans and the plans of the Democrat, which is white supremacy, it is to destroy you. The white supremacists want to destroy you openly. You can see who he is. You can see his tactics. He doesn't care that he hurts you. He doesn't care that you hear it. But the Democratic Party, they're going to silently kill you. They're going to silently kill you. They're going to silently make you broke. They're going to silently destroy you. They're going to silently keep you aborting your children. They're going to silently use population control with LBGQTI agenda. They're going to silently leave you in the dust, leave you dysfunctional. So what African American Muslims are doing now in your communities, many of you don't have no voice in your community except for a few. Many of you don't know what to do. And unfortunately, many of you don't understand Islam still to this day. We wear the garments. We wear the garments. We wear the kufi. We wear the garments. We have the nice fancy names like my name right here. We read the Quran. Well, we claim we read it, but we have no fahm. We have no understanding. We have the outward appearance of Islam. The outwardly appearance. Islam al-Zahir. We have the outward appearance of Islam, and we make sure that we have this outward appearance because black folks, we don't have our identity. We lost our identity from slavery. So Islam gives us our identity. So we outwardly wear these things, Islamic garments, that outwardly appear to be Muslim, but internally, 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 we don't have no Islamic knowledge. Internally, we don't know this. Internally, we don't know this. Internally, we don't know this. Internally, the religion, we don't know it. The mass majority of us. So we don't know how to use the religion to empower us. Externally, outwardly, we got it going. We got this going. We got nice Muslim names. We made our identity for ourselves due to losing our identity because of white supremacy. So we embrace Islam and we get an outward identity and look. But internally, this, we don't know it. Matter of fact, one of the cultural thing that Muslims do, this is Quran, is that we will learn how to read the Quran. Alif, Lam, Ra, Tilka ayatul kitabul hakim, right? And we will learn how to pronounce the letters and the words in the Quran, but we don't know what they mean. Alif, Lam, Ra, Tilka ayatu. Huh? What is tilka? What is the word tilka? We don't even know what this word means. So externally, tilka means that, and it's in the feminine form. So outwardly, we have this. Outwardly, we can recite, but don't understand what we have all the outward appearances of Islam. But the inwardness and the eternal information, the actual knowledge itself, we don't know it. We can even learn how to recite the book, but don't comprehend what it means. So we cannot take the religion and empower ourselves. We don't know how to use the deen to empower and change our conditions. What I'm getting to, what I'm summing up to, what I'm getting to is that you can't make changes if you don't understand the religion, and you can't use the religion to make change. So what actually happens to us? What's actually happening to the African American Muslim? If we start looking at the African American Muslim, because he don't understand this, he doesn't understand these things. He doesn't. It's just a book with fancy letters in it, because he doesn't understand these things. The religion internally, he doesn't understand the religion internally. He just have the outward appearance. What does this mean? This means that in the society we live in America, we're going to be the victims of everybody else, like everybody else in the black community, just like the Nasara or victims of white supremacy. The African American Muslims are also going to be victims. Whatever come to the black peoples in America or they face, you're going to face them also. You're going to be victim of it also. And you're not prepared with your weapon. What is your weapon for the Muslim? The weapon for the Muslim is al-ilm. You cannot take the knowledge from the book. You could probably recite it, but you don't understand what it means. So you don't have a weapon. You don't know how to use the deen, religion, as a weapon. You don't know how to use the deen as a weapon, meaning that you don't know how to use the deen to empower your people. And that's the difference between the Muslim in America and the Muslims in the Muslim countries, even from the non-Arab Muslim countries to the Arab Muslim countries. At least they understand how to use the religion to empower themselves and their people. So as in America, the politics in America, whether it's Republicans or Democratic, all of it is going to be against our people. It's not for our people. None of it. Even what the Democrats try to appear to be for black folks, they really are not for black folks. What they want to do with black folks from the Democratic Party is have population control and mind control for black folks. Population control and mind. They want to limit your numbers. Why you think the Democratic Party is allowing all the illegal South Americans to come through the border? Because this is going to be America's new workforce. And the Republicans are putting it on the front. They put it on the front. Trust me, Republicans are put it on the front because before the recession, before Obama was in office, before the recession, all the illegal immigrants in Republican states, they were working for these white folks. They was doing the work in the jobs that the white people didn't want to do. And they would hire the Mexicans or the legal immigrants to do them because they will work for less money. And they will work organized. South Americans are very organized and they know how to work as a group. That's why America wants them in the country. That's why the Democrats want to bring them in the country to work. And they are submissive to white supremacy because South Americans have been what? Colonialized by the Europeans. Matter of fact, they have the Europeans' last name. They slave masters and the people who colonialized, they have their last names and they speak a broken language from the Europeans, from the Spaniards. So they've been whitewashed and they are submissive to white supremacy. So of course the Democrats want them in because they will fit into the white supremacy program. And they want to be white on top of that. And they are anti-black. So the Democrats already put in their plans to remove black folks. So what the African American Muslims are going to do with themselves and their community? It can't be no longer this stuff I see on YouTube and social media with African American Muslims. The African American Muslims right now, all I see from their social media and their talks, they caught up in nostalgia. The nostalgia of Islam back in their 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s in the African American culture, how Islam is. This imam from back in the days, or some political imam back in the days, or even Malcolm X, which I love Malcolm X. A lot of my platform is formulated from thoughts and ideas from Malcolm X. But we are caught up into the nostalgia instead of planning for the future. And that's because we don't have this. We don't have this. Matter of fact, we don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have this. We don't have these things. The information is very limited and we don't take it serious. Just like the the issues the people have in the communities of not taking academics serious, education serious and following NBA stars and rappers and taking them for leaders, we have the same mind setting in our community also. On Facebook all day, I see I have majority African American Muslims. What are they posting about? All of them posting about Kyrie Irving and Hebrew and Jews issue. Negro, you Muslim. You're Muslim. Why are you focused about being a Yahudi? Huh? Why Kyrie Irving, who is Muslim, focusing on the Yahudi, the Yahud? Why are you focusing on this? Why are you focused on pseudoscience? This is what Muslims, African American Muslims, are posting on social media right now. This is the big talk. Everybody wants to put their input in, and that you're talking about a Muslim athlete in NBA who's confused Muslim. On top of that, he's a confused Muslim who got earrings, Allah Rasulullah, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the forbidding, the prohibition of being what? The man being similar to the woman, dressing like the woman, and the woman being similar to the man. This is cursed. Zalutna fi Islam. This is something that is cursed. I'm not here to show any faults of this brother, Kyrie Irving, but he got this in his ears, and he has some religious religious items I see in his ear that's related to Kemet or ancient Egyptian. So are you Muslim, or you're Muslim, or you're into some other stuff? Why the Muslim posting anything about Hebrews and being Hebrew? You're Muslim. Are you Muslim? And then you have the Muslims on social media, African American Muslims, posting this nonsense. Yeah, man, what he said, Amazon owns that content. I get the point. Why they doing this to him and not Amazon? I get the point. But yo, we're Muslim. So if we're pushing this in the black community, African American Muslim community, an ignoramus Muslim who's an athlete, who's an entertainer, this is what we're pushing as a Muslim. The one saying La ilaha illallah, ad-din indallahi al-Islam, the religion with Allah. In the Quran says al-Islam. Al-Islam. And then the reality, if you want to look at Jews or Hebrews from Africa, and the reality is that many of them, in certain parts of history, in certain parts of Africa, when Islam came, they converted to Islam. They converted to Islam. So you don't hear them talking about, hey man, we are the true Hebrew and the Israelites. You don't hear them saying that. Only the ignoramus Negroes in America who love pseudoscience, pseudo religion, pseudo scholars, pseudo history is promoting this nonsense. Why? Because we're not into this. We're only into the cosmetics. We're only into the cosmetics. We into the cosmetics. We into the cosmetics of the religion only. Cosmetics. Even some of the African American Muslim who claim to have knowledge of Islam in this, if you notice in the videos, they have all in the back of them, they have all their books, the Arabic books and stuff. That's cosmetic. Those decor is cosmetic. We love cosmetic imagery. Cosmetic. There's a reason why. And there is some importance to it also. But we love the cosmetics, but we don't love what's inside. What's the internal information, the real information. The real information makes you who you are in the inside and the outside. And we like confused as Muslims. And this is why we're not able to take the religion, use it to empower our people. Inwardly, we are dead and ignorant and void of this. We avoid of this. And this is why when everything hits the fan in America politics, everything that they initially used to attack black people in America, that's why we also are the victims of it. Also, we fall victims of it, many of us. We don't even see it coming. And then on top of that, we're not ready to make any moves that's promoted in the religion to come together. We're not using anything from the deen to come together. واعتصموا وحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. واعتصموا. Hold on to the rope of Allah and be not divided. واعتصموا حبل الله جميعا. I'm gonna keep on repeating this verse because it appears that African American Muslims don't understand this verse. Jami'an. What is the meaning of jami'an? All of us come together. All of us hold on to the rope of Allah. Mutually together. Jami'an. When is this? When is this? It's going to be in here. When is this? Going to be in here. Not just recited and not understood. Not recited and not understood. Not recited and not understood. When is going to be who we are inside. Our framework should be built on this. Fixing our solution should be framed on that, but we don't know it. Instead, what we have is something that is dysfunctional. That's why we having nobody else like Malcolm X in the Black American community. That's why we caught up in the nostalgia of Afrocentric activism back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, mostly the 50s, 60s, and the 70s. That's why we caught on those black leaders from back then, especially Malcolm X. That's why we are caught up into them. Because we don't have no one doing the work now. And we definitely don't have no one in the Muslim community doing the work. We don't have. We don't have anybody in the Muslim community who's doing the work, who's trying to use Kitab and Sunnah to construct something for his people. Rather yet, we're a person maybe who spent his life or time into learning this properly, with the proper peoples learning this. They come back and they have to work in the non-Black African American Muslim community because the Arabs and the Asian Muslims are or have a little bit more respect for Islam, even though they have issues themselves. They have a little bit more respect for it. So they would get one of you African American du'at or tulabul ilm to teach in their community, just like the NBA have NBA owners. Team owners use Black folks to entertain their community and their people and make money off of it. They use us, Tulabul Elm, to do the same thing in those multicultural communities. The Islamic knowledge, so we're not going to respect somebody who has, from us who have knowledge. And then on top of that, because we are dysfunctional, and part of being dysfunctional is also we have dysfunctional financial practice where we can't practice ethno-aggregation, group, community, economics. So we can't afford anybody who has knowledge to teach us. Neither do we see it important because we're too busy chasing people like Kai Irving and Kanye West. We have this issue, and it's a very severe issue. And then we don't understand there's big, dangerous consequences because of this. See, we don't learn history as Muslims, African American Muslims. We don't like to look in history. There's big consequences for this. When you have this type of behavior and thinking that is the norm in the community, and it's not like one or two people doing this, everybody into it, everybody's distracted, everybody's not into learning, everybody doesn't take building something serious in the black community. There is consequences of this type of thinking and behavior. And what can be some of the consequences? When people get taken out, we're going to get taken out. We're going to get taken out. You think that LBGQTI stuff is a joke? It's not serious? Oh man, best believe you got Muslims, African American Muslims promoting that. You got African American Muslims promoting that liberalism, that garbage, that homosexuality stuff, especially for children. So no, when you drop your guard and don't have your weapon, and don't have your weapon, and don't have your weapon, that Islamic knowledge, when you don't have the weapon, that means that you become victim because you don't know how to fight. You're like a person with a sword who don't know how to use it. And matter of fact, if you're a person with a sword and you don't know how to use it, I have a sword here somewhere too, I was looking for it. And you go into a battle with another person who knows how to use the sword, and you go to fight, you're going to get killed because you have the weapon, but you don't know how to use it. And you're fighting somebody who knows how to use the weapon. So just like that, the African American Muslims in this society we live in, this white supremacist racist system, you're going to get taken out. So some of you, yeah, your kids are going to be gay. You're going to end up Muslim community, homosexuality, drug abuse, dysfunctional home, broken up home, welfare, no economics. You're going to succumb to these things. There's consequences for this type of behavior when you don't take religious knowledge serious. You don't know how to function and work together as a community. And we take celebrities like Kai Irving as leaders and educators, and we spend our time talking about that. And he has complied to his slave master. He's just a plantation. He's on the plantation. He has complied to his master. That's why he apologized. That's who you want to take for a leader. This is who we backing up. I'm not saying that what they did to him is correct. I'm not saying that, and don't get that wrong. But as a Muslim, he confused. As a Muslim, he is confused. One Muslim saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, and understand the deen and Allahi al-Islam, the religion with Allah of Islam, and he's spreading Hebrew, black Israel, black people, original Hebrews, and this and يا أخي أين عقيدة؟ أين والله والبراء؟ أين محبة لله؟ أين محبة لدين الإسلام? Where's the love for Islam? Where's the love for Allah? That's the reality of entertainers. And imagine the Muslims, we have this type of mind setting now in the African American community. This is going to what is going to be the consequences of this type of thinking? What is there's consequences behind everything that we do. If you do something positive, do what you right, the consequences are going to be positive, meaning positive results. But if you're shirking on your responsibilities as a Muslim, if you're shirking on your responsibilities as a Muslim, there's going to be major consequences. Did you not read in the Quran? Those who disobey the law, what happened to them? Matter of fact, if you want to talk about the Jews and Hebrews, do you not read in the Quran as Allah addressed the children of Bani Israel because they was disobedient to Allah and they was disobedient to their messengers? What type of consequences that happened to them? هل أنت تدبرون القرآن حقيقة? Do you really ponder on the Quran? Do you really don't understand this? And there's going to be consequences for this type of behavior and thinking. And the problem with this type of thinking and behavior, it creates the next generation to be like this. It creates the next generation to be as maybe even more ignorant than the one now. It creates an environment for the next generation to be dysfunctional because children learn from their parents and their peers, especially adolescents. So our children are learning this bad behavior, this bad thinking. So you're going to reproduce more ignorant individuals and those who are going to keep on and continue this type of thinking. Keep on taking rappers, entertainers, and athletes and entertainers as leaders and educators. These peoples in this country got a plan for black folks, and it's in play every day. It's in play every day. White folks don't want to be the minority in this country. That's why they overturned Roe versus Wade. That's why the Republican Party overturned Roe versus Wade, and the Democrats under the administration allow it to happen because white people at the end of the day, they don't want to be exterminated or be the fewer or minority. They want to stay in power. And black folks, we like, yo, we are confused. And African American Muslims, some of us are more confused. What should Muslims be doing? What should the African American Muslims should be doing? First and foremost, man, we need to start understanding the deen properly, not just reading books. No Islamic institutions, none. African American Muslims have no real Islamic institution teaching proper Islamic knowledge along with other sciences. What is going to be your future? Why we can't do it? They're going to say, well, we don't have the numbers or we don't have the finances. Then we need to start asking the questions. Why we don't have the finances? Why are our people not doing this? What is preventing us? What is stopping us? And a lot of time is because the lack of knowing, the lack of understanding, and individualism. I have many videos on this channel talk about all this stuff all the time. I have a one playlist about the misappropriate behaviors in the black community. Just go look at that playlist. I talk about all these different things all the time. Even if you're a person who feel that you are upright, that you don't fall in this category, who's to say your children won't fall into this category? You know how many decent people I know, educated, well-minded, circumference, or the better way to say it, or they are complete. They have a good foundation, and the kids are corrupted. And the kids are corrupted. I know many people have good foundations, but the kids corrupted. Kids not corrupted from the parents, corrupted from the society. Because outside in the society, the ignorance and the dysfunction is the mass. It's the mass. So even if you're good and you think you got it, you're not promised that for your children. Even if you put them in, you think you put them in the right environment. Wait till they hit adulthood, and then their children are not promised that. And you might say, well, I'm different from everybody else. And this is something, I'm gonna end on this note. That is the type of thinking that is going on in the African American community, especially the African American Muslim community. While I'm out this equation, I'm not in this equation. I'm special. Negro, you ain't special. I'm not into that. I'm not promoting that. But you're living in a community that's the norm in the community that you live in. I'm holier than everybody else. I'm more righteous than everybody else. This can't happen to me, man. That's part of individualism thinking. You're the special one. No, man. Allah said jami'an, not ifradan, jami'an, all together, not individually, jami'an, not individually. Matter of fact, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who leaves the flock gets devoured by the wolf. A lot of the ones said, I'm the exception to the rule. A lot of you are the ones who flee from the flock, actually, and get devoured by the wolf. A lot of you think you are exceptional. This doesn't mean you're special and everybody else is off, or everybody else is not pious as you're pious. Alhamdulillah, you might think this about yourself, but that might not be the reality. It might be your perspective in your mind, in your head. Well, I'm special. No, Allah says jami'an, all together, not ifradan, jami'an. So even if you think that this is not me and that can't happen to me, yeah, man, it's happening to your kids, man. Know how many parents I seen religious, pious, like my kids? No, my kids good. They kids is in another world. They kids are living a totally different life. Doing things in secret don't even know about. And their parents would think, oh, I'm righteous, I'm holier than I, this can't happen to me. And nah, baby. Nah. It happened to you, your children, it happened to all of y'all. It happened to your next generation. I was looking at a group of Muslims who came into this country, immigrants who came from Afghanistan, and they entered to the US. Father, mother, righteous kids. Some of the kids were showing me what they learned in public school. The kids were showing me about some gay stuff one day. One of them, when he was a teenager in high school, and he was like, yo, man, all the gay people like him. And I said to him, you know why the gay people, the gay kids like you? I said, because you dress just like them. He was asking me why all the gay kids in school always with him or trying to talk to him or whatever. I said, because you dress just like them. This guy even has something tied up in his hair. I'm like, that's women thing you wear in your hair. I told him, this is Afghani Muslim. I said, this thing you wear in your hair tied up, that's what women wear. I said, the gay guys, they're wearing that so they see you as like the sign that, yo, man, you down with their clique. That's why they keep on talking to you. So no matter how righteous you think you are and pious you are, when your kids step out that door, it's a whole nother situation. They go into that public school, it's a whole nother situation. And then a lot of us don't have the proper parenting skills and don't know it. Think that just because you're righteous or you pious and you tell your kids do this, do that, that means that's going to educate them or teach them about the religion somehow. Just don't do that. That's another topic for another day, right? The different styles of parenting, right? The dogmatic style of parenting, right? You have some of the Muslims, they have this. Some of the Muslims who think they're self-righteous, they have this type of thinking. They don't know how to educate their kids about the religion. So they have this dogmatic style of teaching. And then their kids the sooner they become adults, they're the ones, you see them living on their own, whatever, they're not practicing this stuff. So because you think you're righteous or you're religious, doesn't mean that's going to be for your kids. And this whole system is designed to take you out. It is going to take you out from the moral standards or from a moral point of view, or it's going to take you out from a financial point of view. Riba, riba. Riba. I can't even talk about that right now. That's a whole nother topic. Riba. You know how many Muslims I see talking about they religious and righteous, and they're living off of riba? They're eating riba. They're giving their children riba, eating off of riba. Every man is like every man do what he thinks is best for his family instead of every man do what is best for his family that is coming from Kitab and Sunnah. Some of you guys think do as the Romans do, as you in Rome. This is not an Islamic concept. Do what the Romans do. Don't kiss and tell, right? Type of thinking, right? This is how some of us view the religion. Do as the Romans do, and this is why we don't have communities, especially in the Black African American Muslim community. I end on that note. This is some of my food for thought for today, uh, especially about I seen the brother video about local politics going on in his community of racism. You know, that stuff hurt me. The Muslims have to deal with this. And what hurts me the most is that the Muslims don't know how to deal with this collectively. We don't know how to deal with these issues collectively. Everything is, is part of American culture, and the visualism. That stuff is destroying Black folks. That this individualism means for a Black folks is just you are a consumer who is histrionic or histrionic. This is a personality disorder. People who are self-centered always want to be the center of things. Wallahi, it's like every Black American or Americans have this part of them, and this is part of individualism. They are self-centered in everything. This is why some of us, our relationships and marriages don't last in the Black community, because it is selfishness. People talk about narcissistic, so and so is narcissistic. Nah, histrionic. Too self-centered. Anna, anything's about I, my feelings, my space, my this, my persona, my money, my house, my job, my this, my that. Self-centered. People talk about narcissistic now. Histrionic. Very big part of individualism in American culture. While America culture, school pushing individualism, white folks, when it comes to making money, they ain't practicing individualism. What do you think corporation is? Corporation is not based on individualism. Look for the corporations that dissed Kanye West. Those bank corporations, those business corporation. Adidas not owned by one person, but they pushing white society in America's pushing on Black folks individualism. But white folks, when it comes to business and making money, they're not practicing individualism. They practicing corporation, organization, ethno-arrogation. But Black Americans, we're pushing individualism. My, me, I, histrionic. Forget this word narcissistic. Black folks like this word because it's feminist psychology. Feminist psychology blaming men for all the problem. Talk about we are narcissistic. No, man. American culture, American problem, histrionic, self-centered. self-centered people. And some of the more self-centered might be narcissistic or have some traits of narcissism. Histrionic individualism has a lot of the traits of histrionic. Self-centered, have to be the center of everything. All about I, my feelings, my space, my money, my things. That's why Black relationships don't work. It's not because the person is narcissistic. It's because you're histrionic. Everything's about your feelings and what you're going through and this and I. But the real world don't care about your feelings. You go to the corporation for a job. Hey, boss, I was late because of this, that, this, the corporation I hired you. Yeah, you're fired. You're fired. We don't care about none of that. This is what taught in American school, individualism. It doesn't benefit Black folks. When you go to the white man's world, you go to the white man's corporation and business, everybody's working as a group, making money. And other race doing the same thing. Then Black African American Muslims, Islam promotes working together in everything. Everything. From Salah, praying in Jamaat, from Jum'ah, the day of Jum'ah, we go to pray collectively. Hajj, people are making Hajj collectively. We are Muslims praying Salat at the same time to the same Qibla collectively. Family, group, collectively working together, raising children collectively. All this stuff is part of Islam. Fighting jihad. You think that one person went out? People love talking about jihad. Muslims love talking about jihad, right? In fiqh and seerah, jihad. Did one person go out and fight jihad? Huh? You love talking about jihad. Khalid ibn Walid, Umar radiallahu anhu, the different ghazwa, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Did one individual go out in the war and fight? Was it just one person on the battlefield? Or was it a group of people fighting collectively, organized as a unit with one leader? All of them having the same goal? Everywhere you look into Islam, you see working togetherness. I'm out, inshallah. I think I said enough. But this is something for us to thought, man. I haven't been online for a while. But you know, I've been doing some schoolwork and have some thinking, and my thinking and my working is where it needs to be. My name is Abu Bara. I am the founder of Black American Muslim Opinions. We are just getting started. Our mission is to openly discuss and examine social issues faced by Black Americans in their communities and formulate solutions that can be implemented in these communities from an Islamic perspective. We need your support to keep the organization going. Your donations will help us do the work necessary to help Black people overcome their social and economic challenges. Visit our website and learn more about what we do.